Okay, so we're going to go over multiplying rational numbers for today. We've gone over adding rational numbers and subtracting rational numbers. The rules for multiplying and dividing numbers are the same in terms of sign, so it makes things a little bit easier than the addition and subtraction rules. But I'm just basically saying, if the signs are the same, then it's going to be positive. A negative times a negative is a positive. A positive times a positive number is a positive. But if signs are different, a negative times a positive or a positive times a negative, then you'll get a negative answer. So let's just go through a couple of quick examples, then we'll do some fractions and multiplying some decimals. Okay, so if we have negative 3 times positive 2, are signs the same or are they different? They're different. So my answer is going to be 3 times 2, which is 6. Since signs are different, I'll have a negative answer. Now, once again, negative 3 times negative 3. So 3 times 3 is 9, but since signs are the same, I'll have a positive number. And let's go ahead and try one more. Negative 1 times negative 2 times negative 5. Okay? So in this situation, I have 3 negatives. So these 2 negatives are going to cancel out to get a positive. So 1 times 2 is going to be equal to positive 2. And I'm going to multiply that by a negative 5. So this is going to be equal to negative 10. So as you can see, if there's an even amount of negatives, you'll have a positive answer. But if there's an odd amount of negatives, you'll have a negative answer. Okay, so let's go on to the fraction rules. With fractions multiplication, we don't have to worry about the denominators being the same, which is perfect. But if we can simplify, we could simplify now, or we could simplify at the very end. I'll go through the problem without simplifying, and then I'm going to cross simplify in the second example. So it's just straight across. 9 times 2 is 18. 3 times 10 is equal to 30. All right. So what number goes into both 18 and 30? 6 certainly does. So 6 times 3 is 18. All right. And then 6 times 5 is 30. So our answer is 3/5. It was 18 over 30, but it's simplified to 3/5. Now, if I didn't want to simplify at the end, 2/3, I could either simplify this way, or I could simplify this way. But I cannot simplify this way. So I'm going to go ahead and cross cancel to simplify. I'm going to think to myself, what number could go into both 2 and 10? 2 could go into 2. 2 could go into 10. 2 goes into 2 one time. 2 goes into 10 5 times. So far, I have 1/3 and 9/5. I could do that because of cross cancellation. Now, what number could go into both 3 and 9? 3 could go into 3 one time. 3 could go into 9 3 times. So as you can see, before even multiplying, I've already simplified my answer. 1 times 3 is going to be equal to 3. 1 times 5 is going to be equal to 5. Okay? Now, you don't have to know this, but it'll make your life a lot easier when we're working with larger numbers. But for now, just multiply across. Okay? Let's go ahead and do some decimal multiplication. So I have 23.2 multiplied by, let's say, 5. Okay? Now, the thing about decimal multiplication, the thing you need to remember is how many decimal places you are using. So sometimes I like to even rewrite this problem. 232 times 5. I remove the decimal place, but I just go ahead and keep a note that at the very end I have to put back 1 decimal place. So let's go ahead and multiply this through and see what happens. 5 times 2 is 10. It's going to be 15 plus 1 is 16. That's going to be 10. That's going to be 11. So I just have to remember, I use that 1 decimal place. So I got to make sure I put it back. So my answer is going to be 116 in this situation. 116. Okay? And it makes sense because 20 times 5 is about 100. And then 5 times 3 is about 15. So my answer is definitely reasonable. Okay? Now, let's go ahead and try another fraction problem. So 3 1/3 multiplied by, let's say, 2 4/5. Okay, so let's give this one let's give this a negative. Let's give this a negative, okay? So the first thing I want to do is, of course, rewrite it as an improper fraction. So 3 times 3 is 9 plus 1 is 10, so I have 10 thirds. 5 times 2 is 10 plus 4 is 14, so I have negative 14 fifths. Okay? Now, once again, I do not have to have common denominators, which is excellent. So I'm going to go ahead and cross cancel. 5 goes into 5 one time, 5 goes into 10 two times. 2 times 14 is going to be equal to 28, but a negative times a positive is a negative. All right? And then 3 times 1 is just 3. Okay, let's just go ahead and simplify it, put it into a mixed number, and then we're good for now. How many times does 3 go into 18? I know 3 times 9 is 27, so I know that goes in at least 9 times. I'm going to keep my negative. So 27, how much more do I need to get to 28? 1. So my answer is going to be negative 9 1/3. Just remember those rules. Same signs, positive, different signs, negative. With multiplication, you can multiply straight across and get your answer, but simplify at the very end. And then lastly, for these decimals, remove the decimal point, treat it as a regular whole number, insert the decimal later on. And that's it.